the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart.
So let's start off with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the thing with Jacksonville. They have made a lot of moves this offseason in the NFL draft and free agency. Let's go to, free agency. I think the biggest acquisition I can say the Jacksonville Jaguars have made is they were able to get a quality center. They were able to get Mitch Morse from the Buffalo Bills. He's a decent center, and as we know, last year, the biggest question mark for the Jacksonville Jaguars was their offensive line. So that's going to help them, but they still have a problem on the offensive line. Brandon Sheriff and Mitch Morse, they are really, really good, but everybody else is a question mark. Cam Robinson, everybody else. And I went on Twitter and I was searching up, just seeing what the vibe was regarding the offensive line of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it's still the same. Like, people are still a bit pessimistic regarding the offensive line. So I guess that's still going to be an issue this year. But I think one of the good things about Jacksonville this year is, one, they have time to game plan around it, and two, the receivers that they acquired. So in free agency, they acquired Gabe Davis, who's a speed guy. He could stretch the field, which they were lacking last season. Although he does get banged up a lot, he still adds a vertical threat, which is good. They need something like that. And then they drafted Brian Thomas Jr., who is also a speedster as well. He can run some routes. He can separate. He's a really, really good receiver, and he'll add another dimension to the offense that they were lacking last year. Calvin Ridley, at this stage of his career, I wouldn't say he's the fastest receiver out there. Like, he obviously he can run, but I think Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis add something a lot different than what Calvin Ridley and obviously Christian Kirk and Zay Jones were adding to that team. These two guys, they can actually run really fast, and teams are going to have a lot of difficulty trying to stay attached to them. Like the corners, the safeties, it's going to be difficult. But I just think that this offensive line is going to be a problem. My thing is with this offensive line, Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. When everything is in structure, I feel like Trevor Lawrence is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. But when you have to improvise, I don't know if he's that good. How do you feel about the Jacksonville Jaguars offense this year?
I think the offense will be pretty solid. You still got Travis Etienne running the ball. You still got Evan Ingram, who had a pretty good year last year at tight end. You got new receivers, and you still got Christian Kirk out working in the slot. You added Brian Thomas Jr., who I was pretty high on coming out in the draft. I'm not too high on Gabe Davis, but it could be because I'm salty he was selling my fantasy season last year. So Gabe Davis, he cool. He's a cool wide receiver 3. It seems like they got, yeah, I mean, but like you said, the offensive line is the real question for the Jags. I'm looking at the line. Obviously, I recognize pretty much all of these dudes but Anton Harrison, I would actually like them coming out of the draft. That was last year, I believe. I'm not sure how he's progressed or if he was even all that good last year. But I think I hope he's doing all right. But I think the offense will be solid. It's just depending on if Trevor Lawrence is going to, or the line is going to block, or Trevor Lawrence is going to make the necessary plays.
I think
Now,
another thing, yeah.
No,
Oh,
go
ahead. No, go
I
ahead.
was going to switch to the defense. I'm gonna let
Oh,
you get
okay.
this thought.
Okay. So I think another thing is the offense coordinator. Press Taylor. Press Taylor, you got to remember last year there was questions about his scheme and just how predictable it is. Well, this year you have another year under your belt and you can adjust some things. with this offensive line, you're gonna have to do a lot more quick throws. It's gonna be a lot more quick passes, a lot more concepts where you get the ball out quickly because of the offensive line. So this season, how do they adjust with the new weapons that they added and the fact that the offensive line is still not that good? We'll see. We'll see. It seems like Doug Peterson has all faith in Press Taylor. If he didn't, then he probably would have took back the offensive duties. That's going to be another question mark for this team. How does the offensive coordinator game plan? How does he adjust? Because it wasn't relatively good last year.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm surprised they running it back with him.
Yeah.
I guess it was like the first year of that regime, so we'll see. Let me get into the defense, though. They did get Eric Armstead, former defensive tackle for the 49ers. They still got Josh Hines Allen. Got to make the distinction now. I think is Ronald Darby a new addition?
Yeah, Ronald Darby is
Darnell Savage as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they made some moves in the offseason, which is a good thing. But last year that defense started off red hot, like the first 5 or so weeks, and then over as the season went on, they just couldn't continue that same success, and they were just getting cooked by everybody. And ended up missing the playoffs because of it. They couldn't beat. Was it no? I think did they win? I don't remember. They missed the playoffs because of something. I forgot exactly how it went down.
I do know what you're talking about. I forget the team. I don't know if it was the Titans. It was some team that they lost to.
It might have been the Titans, actually.
I can't remember, but I do know what you're talking about. You got to remember, during that time, Trevor Lawrence also was dealing with a major injury, but he was trying to play through it. There was just a lot going on with that team. I think they won like 9 games, but it wasn't the prettiest. They were very one-dimensional in their offense. Like they relied so heavily on we're talking about the defense, but yeah, the defense, you're right. It definitely regressed. That's why they got a new defensive coordinator. They got the defensive coordinator from the Falcons. If you remember last year, the Falcons, like that defense was carrying that team for the majority of the season. And the fact that they were able to get Ryan Nielsen, who I talked to my cousin who's a Falcons fan. He really liked Ryan Nielsen. And so for them to get him, that's good. I think the defense will be good. I just think that the offense is where I'm more so concerned, specifically the offensive line, and also how do they game plan around it? Because Travis Etienne, he was supposed to be just this dynamic player for them, and you could say he was a little bit of a disappointment. Like he showed some flashes, but for the most part, he was a little disappointing. Maybe because of the run blocking, you could say maybe the offensive line wasn't blocking for him as well. But at the same time, like even when he was a pass catcher, he wasn't the greatest. So I mean, Travis Etienne, we need to see more from him this year. That's another thing. That's another thing. But I like this team overall. I think they're going to improve. I think this is a 10-win team. I think the additions on offense will definitely help a lot. It seems like they wanted to add more speed on the outside, and they wanted to. I think they're going to allow Trevor Lawrence to just deliver the ball a lot faster than he usually because of the offensive line. So I like this team a lot. I think they'll win 10 games. I think they'll definitely be in the playoff picture. I will be shocked if they don't make the playoffs this year. I think they should be that good. I think they should be good enough to make the playoffs in this division. Although the Colts, well, let me not say that because the division actually got a lot better. So, yeah I think they're probably the second best team in this division, in my opinion. I just think Trevor Lawrence, he has to take a leap this year. Like, there's no excuse. This is the season. This is year 4, and if you can't take a leap this year, then I don't know when he's going to take a leap, because this is the year.
He just got paid too, so hey, it's time to put up a shut up, I guess. But yeah, man, I think I'm agreeing with you. I think this is around a 10-win team. I like the roster. They got dudes on the field. They just gotta pretty much execute and remain consistent throughout the season with their play, if not get better. So it's on Trevor Lawrence's shoulders. He ain't have the greatest year last year, dealing with injuries and all of that. Hopefully, that offensive scheme will be put and used to the player's best ability. Because as far as I know, a lot of the things they was doing with Etienne was not beneficial to his play style. Because as we know, Etienne is a burner, and it was a lot of runs just directly up the middle, a lot of halfback dives and stuff, and that's not his game.
No, he's not a between the tackles type of guy.
Yeah, so then they got to I don't know. I feel like the best bet for them. You just got to create layups for your QB. You got to scheme guys open. It didn't seem like they did much of that last year. So
yeah,
get the ball to your playmakers' hands and let them cook.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. All right.
Just let me be.